Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest. And this is an Ask the Fairies card reading. I don't usually do these for Friday, but this is kind of a subject that was on my mind here. I have been hearing that the children, some who are already here and others yet to be born, are coming into this world with the job of teaching us such things as telepathy and things like that. Gifts that we have access to, but have long since forgotten how to use, okay? And I wanted to know if the fairies could talk to us through the cards about this, because this may be a huge factor in the poke and what it can do to stop this kind of evolution. So we are going to use the child card for the children, and we will use the woman card for humanity, and we will use the man card for the evil ones, as we always do. So let's get them laid out, and I will fast forward this part for you. All right, well, to get started here, we can see that the woman card, or humanity, is on the end here, and the evil ones card is only a card away, and the children card is down here in the fate line. They were also in the fate line in the last reading that I did. That was just kind of like a checking in kind of reading to see where everything was standing. Now, between humanity and the evil ones, we have the garden card. And the garden is about social things, communication of some sort, trying to have a good time, trying to get together and just commune. Okay, this is what humanity very much enjoys doing. However, this is not what we have been able to do, and this is not what they want to do with us. So this card is kind of a wasted space at this time. Okay, much of humanity is afraid to do that, to come together in that way, because of everything that's been going on. And these ones are kind of looking in a different direction now, because that is not where the focus is. Now notice, we aren't looking towards the children, but they are. Okay, so that's where their focus has come to. So if we're to look at the top three cards as we usually do, we have the Sigh, we have the Crossroads, and we have the Letter. Now the point here of this Sigh is pointing directly at the crossroads, which means one of these pathways, one of these choices that we can make is going to be cut away here very soon. And there's going to be some kind of a communication, some kind of a letter, some kind of something that is going to be presented. Okay, that may be the poke pass that's referring to, and that we have, the option here that we are cut off from society, basically, or we do this. That is kind of where the focus is at right now. As things stand, that's where things are at right now, because Everybody is focused on the 100 people in a workplace. Okay? So here is a focus. Every time there's something huge being put out there, it is normally a distraction of some sort. Okay? So this is where that stands. Now, if we are to look at the four corners, we have the scythe, we have the rider, we have the cross, and we have us, humanity. Okay, so it appears that the scythe is going to be cutting off the incoming news, so to speak. So even though that incoming news has been very prominent for many people, it is not going to be that way anymore. Okay, so that's one of the good things that is coming to humanity. Okay, obviously, you know, we've had a lot of burden going on, and this burden can be lighter once this takes place, okay? Because we won't be getting a lot of untruths once this communication is cut off. And that communication is a worldwide situation. So, yes, humanity has been burdened, but that burden will be lighter once that takes place. Now, if we look at the center four cards, we have the clover, we have the ship, we have the fish, and we have the mountain. So what this looks like is that with the clover, it's going to take a little bit of luck, not a lot. A clover is just a small amount of something, to get over that mountain pass, okay? The blockage, the obstacle, what is stopping us from gaining whatever it is we're looking to gain at this point. The ship is moving away from all of us, basically, okay? So the journey, the long journey, is moving on. So the journey hasn't been at all what has been expected by either humanity or evil ones, okay? It has gone completely differently. And it is due to, we'll say, a little luck, the leprechauns. Anyway, and there's still abundance to be had by everybody. In fact, all of this going on may very well increase abundance, but that remains to be seen as yet. So if we look at the cards that are weighing down upon humanity right now, okay, we have the scythe, we have the ring, we have the stork, and we have humanity, okay? As we've said, you know, the scythe is about cutting, something being cut away. And, you know, this is perhaps our commitment, not to one another necessarily, but it is sitting right next to our well-being card. So this could also be commitment to our well-being. You know, for some, that's going to be cut off because everything that has happened has been bought into, okay? But there's change happening here. That's what the stork is about. There's change. So even though it looks like the commitments that we've had previously are being cut away and changed, this is not a bad thing, okay? It is weighing heavy on our minds, but it is not a bad thing. In other words, we don't want to be committed to what the tower would be all about, the structure, the restrictions, that kind of thing. We don't want to be committed to that anymore. And if you see, we've got the rider who has his back to the tower. So the rider is paying no mind any longer to those restrictions and the so-called regulations, because it's time to move forward and away from that. If we look at the line of the evil ones, we have the letter, we have the house, we have the snake, them, and then underneath the polar bear, which is, or the bear. Okay, so there's a saying, we've got all these laws that we're putting into play here. And these laws are all about how you're allowed to live. Okay? We feel that we have more knowledge and more of a right to tell you how to live because you're not able to do it for yourself. Your well-being is in our hands. Okay? However, that is what the snake said to Eve in the Garden of Eden, right? And look where that led. So there's a lot of twisting and turning, a lot of lies about things that are hidden. They're secrets. They still have so many secrets about the reason for all this. Okay, this is what is weighing down on them because that is what they're supposed to be trying to accomplish. However, it's not necessarily going the way that they hoped it would be, because how people are seeing this whole situation is definitely eroding. And family or harmony is coming more into play, and it's not eroding as much anymore. It is still between the mice and the tower. However, it's getting stronger. Family is becoming anchored in. And as I said, the news is being pushed out, going on its way. So as a whole line, we seem to be, again, as we were last week, kind of neck and neck with this situation. Okay, however, things are changing for us in a good way. Okay, we just need to make a decision here about our well-being, do some research. And if we do the research, we're going to uncover those secrets, and then being together in a social situation is normal for humanity. It really is. But right now, it isn't necessarily the only thing to look at, which is maybe why she's not looking at that. She is looking that way to make sure that she is covering everything, that she's not getting sidetracked by just one thing, okay? There are many things that these are using to be recognized, okay? And they are, making money out of all of this. So if we look at the fate line here, we've got the bear, we have the whip, we have the children, and we have the anchor. Okay? The bear is about strength and protection. Okay? Strength and protection. And these guys are trying to squash that, correct? Okay? The whip is about something that just keeps repeating. And this is something that they have done over and over and over again. This time is much more powerful than it has ever been, okay? With the exception of perhaps World War II and what went on there, if there's any truth to that at all. And I don't know. There's varying opinions on that one. And then we have the children, okay? So it's always a repeating pattern to get to the children and to anchor themselves into how these children are cared for, raised, taken care of. I guess that's cared for. How they grow up and what they believe, okay? They want to make sure that, you know, there's erosion there. That these children are not anchored in what humanity is known for, but is anchored in what this is meant to be. And they will do what they can to destroy what they can. So if we look at what's on top of the child card here, we have the coffin, we have the ship, we have the mountain, and we have the mice, and then we have the children. Now the coffin is about change, transformation, an ending to something. So to me, this is an ending to this journey that has been taking us over mountain after mountain after mountain. Okay? And it's being now, this whole narrative is being eroded away. Our children are underneath of all of this. This again is the focus. This is what the whole point is here. So the question here was, can we hear about whether or not these children are here to change the world, basically? The ones that are, some of them that have been born already, and some of them who have yet to be born. And some of these children do not speak. They can speak, but they're not speaking. There's nothing wrong with them. They're trying to teach those who care for them how to work in a more telepathic manner, because that is ever so much more precise. Okay, and without practice, that is something that we cannot master. So practice is necessary. And these children may have a way in which to do this, to teach. It may be very frustrating for them. However, this is, what is being said now about the kids. If we see where we're connected here from the children to evil ones, the card underneath is the bear. This is saying that the children are much stronger than they are. Okay? And if we go their route, okay, it's showing the mice. And that's saying that these children know that these are parasites. They know this. They understand very much the value of family. They recognize what is happening, these children do. They're not willing to do, they're strong enough that they're not going to repeat or allow the repeat to happen. They're going to sink their feet into solid earth, and nothing is going to move them. That anchor is going to hold family together. That is how it's going to work. There's not going to be any more, what do you want to say, treachery. A lot of the cards, like the fox, who is basically a trickster, the dog, the birds or the owls, those cards, okay, so the fox is, a wrongdoing, something happening that isn't correct. And the dog is somebody who is very loyal to something specific. And we were determining previously that that's the wooden stick that it chases, okay, or poke. And then that was causing the birds or the scattered mind, the fluttery, crazy goings on, okay? Those are nowhere near the children or humanity this time around. Nowhere near. So again, as always, the fate line is, it's almost as though she is not, or humanity is not looking at the children at all, okay? Because these children, they kind of have it all under control, so to speak. There's power in spirit. And this is what they are being brought in or have chosen to come in to do. And that is to aid humanity in the evolution of things. Now, obviously, this is something that I'm not the only one, obviously, who knows this. They would know this. So when you think about that stick that the dog chases, there have been reports of, and we'll call this the stork that delivers the babies. After this has been done to someone who has the stork coming, the child doesn't make it. Okay? There's been a lot of reports of that. And knowing how valuable these children are and how powerful these children are, that's one of their main focuses, is to stop that. But then there is a whole nother aspect to why these children are valuable. And, it's a big, big plan going on that just is not going their way any longer. Okay? Now, if we look over here, because we did do the 2 end cards here, and we've already done this line. So we talked about the burden and the wrongdoing from the fox and the sun and the news, the rider, okay? So the burden is lighter. It's on top because the wrongdoing is being lit up and illuminated. That wrongdoing and what's being illuminated is the media, right? The news. They are a huge catalyst for everything that has been going on, okay? Huge catalyst. So these children, I am going to say that the question that I posed here is so entwined with so many other things going on in the world right now. This hasn't happened yet. It is happening. There are people who are talking about this situation with the children, their own children, and other people's children that they're recognizing and working with in this way. So it is happening right now. The fate line just says, from the standpoint of the children, we're strong. We're not going to allow anything to repeat that's going to do us any harm, okay? We're dropping our anchor on that one, putting our foot down. This is how it's going to be. family. Humanity is going to be the important factor here. The world, and when I say family, this is also a harmony card. So just harmony, evolutionary harmony. Without this, these children recognize them. And these children are using their power to help erode a lot of this going on here. And Spirit is helping as well. I'm not seeing as much fear, thankfully, in these cards as we have seen previously. Okay, the snake is one of those things that, produces fear, brings fear to people. And, it's not that far away. But again, like before, neither humanity nor the evil ones have a full set of cards that we can read. But in the middle, if you were to do all of these because of where they're at, in the middle of these 9 cards is the closed book. So on both sides, there's secrets. Secrets going on, and they're not sharing. Not now. So I'm going to take this as a yes on the question that there are things going on with the children that is very important to the changing of the evolution of everything. And that's going to be a very, very, very important factor here, because in the Aquarian age, it is about love. It is about harmony. The Piscean age is everything that they've been trying to push. It was more of a, fighting age, where the Aquarian age is a loving age, and we're on an overlap with the two at the moment. That's why it is crazy. That's why you feel as though nothing makes sense. So let's just go with that for now, and perhaps later on we'll get a little bit more for information on the children, which would be amazing. So I think that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.